Okay. So we've talked a little bit about this, but you have come up with a new mission statement.
Yeah, I have, and I'm probably actually going to butcher it at this second, but and this came from a friend of mine, but my mission is to redefine healthcare as self-care.
Mm-hmm.
My mission is to have people joyfully engaged in their own healing process. Like health as the cornerstone to self-care. So I don't have all the figures because I just don't do a lot of these things. But I know that people spend a lot of money every month on manicures, pedicures,
Right.
What's the needling, micro
Oh,
needling.
yeah.
Botox, spray tans, all of these things that it's kind of a matter of fact for a lot of people to just say, well, it's just self-care. And you and I have talked about this, like, yeah, if you feel like you look better and these things have you feel more confident,
Right.
that is self-care.
Right.
For sure.
It's just like dressing the part,
Right, right. And like a lot of people are insecure if their nails aren't perfect. That's fine. You got different nails on and now you're like taking on the world. Great. So why aren't we investing like that in our health?
Right.
And so that for me, I'm super passionate about this when I've realized, like, and that's why I made it into my mission statement, is because we need to change the conversation.
Yeah, we do.
We've got all this self-care, self-care, self-care as kind of a cliche now for I'm going to go get a massage and I'm going to go get a manicure and I'm not saying that isn't self-care.
Right.
But I'm not hearing anybody say self-care equals going and getting an acupuncture session or self-care equal even self-care as therapy. Oh, I do therapy.
Right.
But it's not necessarily even self-care. So, yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of passion behind what you're saying. So what is it that makes you so passionate about what you do?
Because, and this is kind of similar to what you said, actually. There's so much pain.
I know.
There's so much pain.
It's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch all the pain in the world. And I am in this really, blessed position. That sounds kind of cheesy, but I'm in this position where I can see, I get the privilege of seeing what people are going through.
Right.
And I see so much pain. And I see that we can be better if we just took care of ourselves. We could have more emotional resiliency. We could have more physical resiliency if we took care of our bodies, of our spirits, and of our emotions.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and it really does when you can see people heal, when you can see people have those big aha moments. Oh, this is why I do what I do, or this is why the body's responding the way it's responding. It's really beautiful to watch because knowledge really is power, right? So we have those aha moments, that awareness. We now know what to do.
Yeah, and
we get control back.
We get control back, yeah, because that's another tagline on my website is like re-empower yourself or empowerment. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And that's it. What you said too is watching people heal.
Yeah.
Like I am not a healer. And so, that's one of my very many, one of my pet peeves is when we have so many people in our professions who say, I'm a healer. Well, yeah, you work in that capacity. We do.
Sure.
I'm not healing you. I can put the needles in certain places.
Right.
But you're the one who gets to have these epiphanies. You're the one that gets to go to yoga class and drink more water and sleep better. And guess what? You feel better. You just healed yourself.
Right. And as facilitators, we get the joy of just being there watching that, and hopefully guiding them, and throughout the process.
I know, I love that. Like, and I'm sure you have the same thing too. When a client comes in the end, I haven't seen them in a week or two, and they say, oh my God, I started drinking more water and I haven't had a headache in a week. It's like, yay!
I know.
Because it really is that easy often.
It really is.
So often.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know. I have clients who come in and they say, oh, you've helped me so much. No, I haven't. I mean, I know a few things, here you go, try this out, right? But really and truly, it's about the client. It's about their journey.
Yeah, and I know sometimes like a business coach or somebody will kind of say like, Lesley, it is you. Yeah, I have some knowledge. I've got
mhm.
20 years experience in the mind-body field. I
Mhm.
meditate. I do all of that.
Mhm.
So yes, I have some knowledge.
Mhm. Well, we practice our skills in our own personal
Oh my
lives.
God,
We
yeah.
have to. Right?
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell somebody to do something that I haven't tried myself.
I know, and you know, I have some herbs that I recommend to people. It's because I take them.
Right.
That I know that no, this really works. This isn't a racket, go to Sprouts. I'm not making money, right? Like, but I know that these work. Meditation, I do it. I know that it works. And so that's it. So it's not, I don't think it's knocking ourselves down a peg to say that it's you doing it, because it really, because that's what makes us different too than, and this is not a knock, but this is what makes somewhat different than the Western medical model.
Right.
Because I have the knowledge, but you have the power. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, do all of these things and I'm the expert and I'm this and that. You're the expert on you.
Right.
So that's what's,
And based on your information, here's what I have.
Absolutely.
Right? Here's what I can offer.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so I talk about, you know, obviously I do acupuncture with every session, you know, but I also talk about flower essences. A lot, I think flower essences are super powerful.
I do too.
I do a lot with essential oils. I do a lot with nutritional supplements. And the number one thing with any of that is it's got to be high quality.
Right.
Whatever we're doing, just as a little side note.
Yeah.
Like when I talk about doing, because I don't want somebody watching this and being like, oh, essential oils, I'm going to go buy some at Target, right? It's got to be high quality.
Yeah.
And for the record, gummy supplements are a waste of money. Just want to throw that out there because I hear that a lot, right? So I think there's so much information out there. It really is important to work with somebody who does have some knowledge, you know, a nutritionist who does know things, you know, all, yeah.
So I want to ask you a little bit about, we talked somewhat about why I've gotten into some of the trauma stuff, right? Just based upon my own experiences. What are some of the experiences that you've had throughout your life that has really kind of led you here?
You know, I started my bachelor's degree in psychology, adolescent psychology, when I was, 17, 18, 19, something like that. Because I didn't want other teenagers to feel as crappy as I felt as a teenager. So it was really like coming out of being a teen and saying, how can I help others have a different experience?
Right.
And then, you know, and then I got into massage on a fluke because my roommate was doing it. And then I'm like, oh, we've got the mind, you know, the psychology, the therapy, and the body, it's so important. And then I kind of fell into the acupuncture, and I learned 5-element acupuncture, and so it was like, that's much more spirit-based.
Right.
And so for me, that's the trifecta, right? I've got the background in psychology, I've got the body work, I know that the body keeps the score, and then I've got the acupuncture, which can really touch that spirit, and so it all kind of comes together. And then
all encompassing.
Yeah, and then I got into the addictions work because a dear friend of mine was, you know, homeless and you know, shooting up everything he could find because of addictions. And so again, you know, I don't want to see people suffer, and I know I can't save the world, but I can save one little corner, and maybe I can save somebody who's, you know, like I just I want there to be less pain in the world. Right.
And I find that we tend to do this based upon our subconscious information too, right? Our misperceptions, our things that we've had to work on over the years. You know, we found things that were successful, so it's like, hey, you know, if you've got this problem, here you go, try this. So I find that really kind of fun that we start working on ourselves, and it leads us to these professions.
Yeah, well, and it all kind of dovetails, and because like I do the Psych K, which is, you know, and you had spoken about this, but like, so the premise really is that 90% of what we do comes out of information from our subconscious.
Right.
So we can do the mantras all day long, we can do something different, but if we don't change the subconscious tapes, we're never going to be able to change that behavior in a lasting way. Right. Stopping smoking. Right. People don't want to smoke, but there's something deeper.
There's something there that's Exactly. I've heard this said before, you know, somebody talking about how somebody will ask them a question and then all of a sudden a lie pops out of their mouth. and then they consciously think, oh, I just lied. What did I do? It just was an automatic response. Right. And that's what happens, so then at that point, either you tell them, oh, I'm sorry, I lied, or you save face and you keep the lie going. So it's not a malicious thing at all. It's just sometimes our subconscious information takes over, well, the majority of the time, I should say, takes over, and out it comes.
And then what happens is you get trapped in that shame spiral.
Yes, you do.
Right.
Yes,
I love Brene Brown, all of her work. And this, again, it's just knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Right. Like, so instead of saying like, oh, I'm not going to admit that I lied, I'm so ashamed, we've got to learn to break that cycle and be like, I just lied. And learn how to not let that shame spiral start.
Right. Well, and it starts with being mindful. I mean, that was a buzzword for a while, but really and truly, all mindful means is, here comes my automatic reactions, my automatic biological response, as they call it. I need to take the step back, like you said, and I need to recognize that, and now I need to change, rather than just automatically allowing it to flow, right? I'm going to stop it. I'm going to say, hold on, take a deep breath. What can I do differently? Because I mean, it's like what Albert Einstein that said the definition of insanity, right?
He never actually said that.
So that's, what's funny is that I read that somewhere. Yes. So where did that come from? Because everybody says that, he was the author of that.
I know, but so I don't know who actually did.
I still love the statement, though. I mean, the point being is that really, if we keep doing the same thing over and over, and that these are these subconscious patterns that we do over and over, we really will get the same result. But we get upset because we keep thinking, I want a different result. But we're not going to. That's why you have to be mindful. You have to stop yourself before those things happen and say, what am I changing here so that I can get that different result?
But what's coming up for me as you're speaking too is it takes courage.
Oh, it certainly does.
It takes courage to be like,
that's not the easiest thing in the world.
I just screwed up.
I know.
I did it again. I did it again. Or, you know what? I'm going to do this differently.
Right.
And even though I don't like these results,
right,
I'm familiar with them. I'm going to take a different chance.
Oh, people will come in and talk about how depressed they are, but won't make the steps to overcome the depression, because even though it's so miserable to them, it's still comfortable. So I tell people all the time, comfort zones are dangerous. We don't really want comfort zones. We want change. We want, even if it's just a tiny little minor change, you need to do it, because change is scary, but change is also pulling out of our patterns. That's why it's scary to change, is because we're showing ourselves that we are pulling out of something that we're used to, that we're running over and over again. So that's uncomfortable.
Well, and that's why I tell, I don't know, 90% of my clients, if not 100, I don't tell them. I ask them if they're working with a therapist, because as we make changes, as we do things differently, as we step into our power, our voice, our authenticity, whatever we want to say, it may very well make the people around us really uncomfortable.
It does, yeah.
And so we
need,
it can, yeah. So we need support. We need cheerleaders. We just need to be told, keep doing it. Keep doing it. And let everybody we all need to figure out our own stuff.
Yeah, we do.
In connection, but separate.
But I think that's why we need to be really open, about that whole process, because we do need to be honest and say, you know what, here's what I did, and I don't like that, and I'm going to move forward this way. And when it's our real people, as I call our soul connections, they're going to be people that do support us in that. They're going to support us in that change. They're going to encourage us. They're going to cheerlead us on in that change,
I know, and
vice versa.
And one of the things, and this is kind of that together but separate, I've been around a couple of people who've been in really toxic relationships. And it's so hard for me to see and hear them say like, oh, well, he said I was stupid, but he didn't mean it. Or he, basically having to witness somebody not be surrounded by cheerleaders, and then for my own, not my business.
Yeah.
It's not my business.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
It is.
And that's where that conversation that we've had before about, like, it might seem very cold when I'm like, not my problem.
Right.
And in a way it is, but it's also A, really healthy, and B, really honest. Because it's not my problem. And so why should I get tangled up? Just like social media.
Right.
Like,
but why would you say it's healthy? Healthy for the client because?
It's healthy for me.
Oh, healthy for you.
I mean, two things. Healthy for me, because why should I get upset about what this person is doing in their house behind closed doors, how they're feeling? Like, that's, there's no reason I need to be upset and broiled up about that. But it's also healthier for them because I'm empowering them to live their own life.
Yeah, you are.
Because if I say, do this, do that, do this, I'm the puppet master.
Right.
Like, that's...
Well, it takes away the buy-in or value, you know?
Yeah.
They don't
it disempowers
have
them.
It does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's healthier for everyone if we all... I mean, again, if we mind our own business. Care for one another. Support one another. And mind, you know, in Alcoholics Anonymous, it's keep your side of the street clean. God, that's...
Well, and I kind of liken it to, you know, I had some, or I knew some kids that grew up and, you know, parents took care of everything. So anything happened where they got in trouble, right, then parents would come in and save the day, okay? So those kids really didn't learn anything from their mistakes at the end of the day. So, you know, parents, I can see why parents would do that. They're doing that because they're trying to protect their kids.
Sure.
And, you know, they don't want their kids to experience the badness of that, right? But the truth is that we do people a disservice when we take away their learning experiences.
Yeah.
We really do. So it's about being supportive, being there when you need me, certainly, but I'm not going to do it for you, nor should I, because that is a detriment to you.
Yeah, and so that's how it is in the treatment room. Right? Like, I can say, you know, I mean, I've told clients before that I can't work with them because they're unwilling to do it for themselves. And that sucks. That feels cold.
It does.
But it really
But it
is.
also teaches them a lesson too. You know, and we all need that. You know,
sure.
Nothing against them, right? But it teaches us. It makes us pay attention and go, oh, wait, this is serious. I do have to take some accountability and responsibility here.
Yeah, and again, to return to like the Alcoholics Anonymous, it's like, how bad does it have to get before? How much pain do you have to be in before you're willing to change? I forget what the phrase is, but you know, it's like not enough yet. You're not in enough discomfort to change, and it sucks to witness. Whatever role we're in,
it really
sucks
does.
to witness.
Well, and when you've been through that, when you do start to change and get out of that discomfort, now you start to see the things along the way that you can prevent, you know, from getting there. You can prevent from getting to that hurt spot, right? That injured spot. I talk a lot about how, you know, we have a cold, we get some sleep, we drink fluids, right? But what if that cold turns into pneumonia? And now we're really sick, and now we have to go to the ER. So it's a lot the same with therapy, with issues, with all, you know, we have that cold. And if we don't take care of the cold and nourish it, then we go to the ER. And so many times when people come for therapy, it's like, I'm in trouble. Well, we've gone too far. We've pushed it too far, you know. Now, great, I'm glad that you're here.
Right, because that being said, too far doesn't mean like you can't get help.
Right,
So let the record reflect.
Right, absolutely.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. It's never too late.
It can be easier if you start earlier.
It's just a lot easier, and you don't have to go through the kind of injury that you have to go through if you can just be preventative and see the signs along the way.
Right. Well, I think about
the cold.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the lights on your dashboard, right? A little light comes on. What are you gonna do? You know, some people they put a piece of tape over it, or there's a little rattle, and you turn up the radio. Right. Okay, that's fine. But eventually, these little rattles and these little lights, they're gonna explode.
Right. It's gonna turn into something's wrong with the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I was gonna say, well, thank you for discussing this with me today, and all right.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah.